Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at a pretty cheap team here, but mainly a team based around Vigoroth. This Pokemon is so underrated in the current meta. It is a wild. This Pokemon is so good right now, and like a lot of people actually have that still because it was meta basically 4, 5, 6, 7 seasons ago. It's pretty much meta in nearly all the cups where it is allowed with like a limited meta because it's just such a good Pokemon. But you rarely really see it in the open Great League. We're going to change that today, and we're going to have an interesting team here as well. Running the Altaria, and I kind of want to have something cheapish in the back. We have the Swampert here. You can use the normal Swampert. Normal Swampert actually has a lot of benefits over the Shadow version because you have more bulk. But of course, you also don't do as much damage with Hydro Cannon, which can be a little bit of a problem. Here we're going to see the poor man's, or the actually more expensive version of the Vigoroth, which is going to be Dubwool. Dubwool is not really available recently, in general, in the wild at least. So it's kind of the alternative for Dubwool. You can also use Dubwool instead. You can also use Dubwool as a say-so for this team and Vigoroth as a closer, but because recently I did a lot of videos with Dubwool and everybody was like, oh, I don't have a Dubwool, I can only play that team. For the teams which I showcased prior with Dubwool, you can use Vigoroth instead, said like 20 times. But in general, I didn't really want to make another one with them. If you don't want to use Swampert in the back, you don't have it, or you maybe even fear that you're going to have more issues with a Alolan Ninetales, which can be an issue as you can see here, as you're not going to have any resist for this Pokemon. You can of course use Galarian Stunfisk in the back. Galarian Stunfisk is the only Pokemon that you can really use in the back there. Theoretically, you could use Registeel, but it would make it a little bit more awkward against other Galarian Stunfisk because you usually lose that matchup. So I would say Swampert is the best option here, but you can also of course go for Galarian Stunfisk, which would work out pretty well against something like the Alolan Ninetales, which you're going to see here is an issue for the team, especially if they're going to know already my entire team and they can play around that. So that's just something for you to note, so maybe that's something that you want to take a look at. Otherwise, this team worked out really well for me. I did 3 sets with it. These are the first 2 sets that I played with it. The third, I went 3 and 2. I think I went here one time 4-1, one time 3-2 as well. So in total, a 10 and 5 run with this team, which is pretty solid, I would say. This team was a lot of fun. Can highly recommend it to you. Honestly, a very cool team to use. So we're going to see the Surf Edge here, which is going to slow you to a charge move, but we will be able to let this move go through. I actually thought we were shielding this one, but we don't. And we're going to shield this one now, which is going to be the Night Slash, so they don't run the Brave Bird. That's like the thing with Surf Edge on teams anyway. I'm always kind of scared if they are running the move Brave Bird or Night Slash. Right now, I actually would recommend you to use a Night Slash on this Pokemon as well instead of Brave Bird. Main reason for this are those ghost types like the Trevenant. You're going to be able to get to the Night Slash a little bit easier than to the Brave Bird. Main reason for that, at least, for me at least. We're going to see here the Power Punch version of Medicham, which is going to have to take this Hydro Cannon. They're going to shield this move up, and of course, we can retaliate here in general with the Earthquake, going to one-shot them nearly, going to put them into range for sure for Altaria. Power Punch doesn't even knock me out. They try to overfarm there, but it doesn't help them. Like, that doesn't really help them at all. We're going to be able to go into the next game. Let's take a look at this one. We're going to see a Lantern. This is also, by the way, one reason why the Vigoroth right now is such a good Pokemon. Lantern is weak to Bulldoze. Lantern in general doesn't like to get countered down. It's definitely a matchup that you can win with the Vigoroth, but Vigoroth in general is just so solid in general here right now because you're going to do some decent damage against Noctowl. You have a counter user that can basically beat Noctowl in certain scenarios. Definitely can take a charge move because the Vigoroth is pretty bulky as well, while still having Stab Body Slam, which, as you can see here, does some quite decent damage there against the opponent. We will go for another one, and we're going to put them into farm down range, which we are not going to take advantage of because it's also farm down range for a certain Pokemon that we have in the back, which is going to be our Swampert. And for much shot worth on a Swampert, it will be more worth than the Vigoroth, as we're going to shield up this next charge move from the Lantern. If they bring in the Lantern here right now, that kind of tells me they're most likely going to be a little bit weak against Swampert still in the back, because this is not the best matchup, and we're going to see in Alolan Ninetales. This can be a little bit tricky. Hydro Cannon coming through, going to do some decent damage. I feel like at this point of time, my only real way to win this game is to catch a charge move. And that's exactly what we're going to do here, as this is going to be a weather ball, double super effective. They're going to undercharge, but not enough, as we're going to be able to reach 2 hydro cannons. As we see the opponent getting a fast move through, that means that we win the game, because even if they have a charge move now, which they don't even have, we will be able to just basically win CP anyway here and knock them out. A very good game there. Let's take a look at the next one. Trevenant in the lead. That's definitely something I like to see, because our Swampert doesn't like to see that one, but what our Swampert likes to see is a Shadow Drapion. This Pokemon will not appreciate the Swampert at all. Hydro Cannon going to do a ton of damage against them, and Hydro Cannon going to come through here, as well as they're going to go for their own charge move. What I can do now is I can shield this one up. It's going to be the Awkward Tail. I don't really care too much about it. We have a lot of energy stored here already, and we can go for the Hydro Cannon. We're gonna get another shield, and that's not all. We're also going to be able to get the knockout, allowing us to realign, allowing us to get a shield advantage, allowing the opponent only get a 1 fast move advantage, and we can go ahead and go into an Altaria. Great play by the opponent. You saw me lagging there as well. I have still a lot of frame drops on Android right now. It's really annoying to play, but yeah, this was kind of awkward, because like literally I think my opponent didn't even swap really great, but for me, like, the game just literally lagged out there. Doesn't matter though, because Vigoroth literally doesn't really care too much. We will be able to go ahead, go for 1 bulldoze here, can knock them out. They are forced to throw 1 seed bomb, I think, against me. And I'm gonna go for Body Slam. I checked after this match. Bulldoze actually does more damage. It just barely does more damage, but it does more damage per energy. I know that Bulldoze is single resisted and Body Slam is double resisted, but the difference is, like, it's really low. Like, going for Body Slam is not really a mistake either. But anyway, we're going to be able to win this game here pretty easily, as we're going to encounter another Lantern. This is going to be okay for us. Eventually, we most likely want to swap out here, because we have, of course, an ABB line style again, because our Altaria is supposed to at least counter something that would beat the Swampert, for example, a Noctowl. So we're going to be able to get this Pokemon out of here as well, which is going to be amazing. We have a ton of energy advantage, which with Vigoroth is a very good thing, as you're going to see against this Noctowl. We can go ahead and go for some Body Slam spam, and they are forced to either shield here right now, or whatever they really want to do here. We can just go for another Body Slam, and we're going to have a great time here. Let's take a look what the opponent is going to do. They're going to let this move go through, go into their Lantern, and now we put them into Hydro Cannon range, which might be the best play for me to do. So I'm gonna go ahead, go into my Swampert. I think I'm going to shield this move up. Surf is still going to hurt quite a bit, and I'm not sure what they're going to have in the back yet. So I'm going to overfarm here, knowing how much energy they have. We'll be able to go for 1 Hydro Cannon, gonna get the shield from the opponent, and I'm going to shield up as well, because I feel like Lantern might be still an issue, but we're going to see the Obstagoon in the back. This can still be a problem for me, but we also still have our Altaria, and as we still have a what's this called? Skytech stored, that's what the name was. We will be able to get the final shield by the opponent. We can take this charge move coming in, which is going to be the Night Slash, and we will be able to just let this move go through, put them into range where I can just maybe even farm them down? Is this a play? Nah, it's not a play. We're gonna go for the charge move here, because I don't really want to get hit by a Night Slash, and we should be still in range where we can get to the Hydro Cannon in time, so the opponent's Lantern does not get to a Surf, and we will be able to knock them out here. Let's take a look at the next opponent. We will find out here what they're going to run. A Lantern again. Like, I don't know how many Lanterns we had in this video already. I think that was like the 3rd or 4th already in the lead. Kinda always the same lines. We're going to see a Sableye coming through. Sableye can be a little bit tricky, depends on really what you're doing here. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to let this move go through. We already got a shield from the opponent. I can go into my Vigoroth now. We will be able to double resist the fast move, but they're going to single resist our fast move and double resist our Body Slam. Thing is, we're going to be able to shield correctly the return here and knock them out with 1 Body Slam of our own. Counter still does a pretty decent amount of damage against them, and we're going to get out the opponent's Trevenant. Again, I think it was actually this one, the first Trevenant matchup that I had. I guess I looked it up after this one here. because my game is always on videos, by the way. If you see also like Edo in like fluctuating between two different ones or whatever, games are always randomized. This is something that I'm not doing. This is something that my program is doing for whatever reason. They completely randomize the footage that I put in, but we're going to be able to go ahead and hopefully go for one charge move here, but sadly we are not. But luckily this is only a seed bump, allowing us to still go for our charge move here, knocking them out. And of course we can go straight into our Swampert, as we're going to encounter don't know, the Lantern. And what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and go for the Hydro Cannon. We should be basically at even energy, which should allow us, theoretically at least, to get to 3 Hydro Cannons in time. But as my opponent going to let 2 of them go already, I can let this one go through. I don't really care too much about it, but now I see that actually my matchup damage is going to be enough to knock them out, so I'm going to decide to shield this move up, and the fast move damage is just coming through here, knocking out the opponent. Let's take a look at the next one. We're going to see a Skarmory in the lead. This can be a little bit tricky. You're going to swap out here. Again, same reasoning as before. We have kind of an ABB line. We kind of want to get out, for example, a grass-type Pokemon that you don't really want to face with the Swampert. So we're going to get the Brave Bird out of here, but we're also going to get out the Scrafty, Pokemon that I actually don't mind on this Pokemon here in general, because I can go ahead and go for the Body Slam Spam. This is going to be an interesting one in general, as you're going to be able to go ahead and go for a lot more Body Slams here. And they're going to go for the Power Punch. We can still survive that, and now, as you can see, we will be able to realign most likely. Issue is, they can farm me down with their Skarmory, but turns out they're gonna go into an Umbreon. This is going to be a tough one, because the opponent still has the Skarmory, which is pretty decent against our Altaria as well as our Swampert, and Umbreon is also pretty neutral, but Umbreon is a very tanky Pokemon, and they have 2 shields. But for whatever reason, they don't want to shield any moves from my Swampert, which is kinda weird, I would say, because Swampert's damage output is just higher than Altaria's. Like, I don't know really what they try to do here. I can still go for one fast move, catch the charge move from the opponent here onto my Altaria. Now the Umbreon is basically useless for them, because they are in farmland range for both of my Pokemon. They don't get to another charge move in time. And it's basically all down to the opponent's Skarmory. They're gonna go for the Sky Attack, which was a huge mistake by them, as I think the Brave Bird would have been the better play for them. We can go for the Sky Attack ourselves, and we can go for another one, which will allow us to get the final shield of the opponent. We have 1 Hydro Cannon stored right now. They go for the charge move anyway. They are not at 2 charge moves anyway right now either. I can go for some more fast moves, because I know that they don't have the energy to go for anything else. Just in case the Umbreon had more energy than I thought, I will be able to go for my own charge move here in time to knock out the opponent, and we will be able to win this game. Next opponent coming through, let's take a look at this one. Altaria against Altaria. This is a matchup that you kind of want to play out of here, as you can go ahead and go for the Sky Attack immediately. What I'm going to do here is I'm most likely not going to even shield up. I kind of want to keep my shields alive for the Swampert, but my opponent also not going to shield. And I think I had some stutter lag again here, which will not allow me to win this matchup, because the opponent going to farm me down with 1 HP left. Amazing. But yeah, this is the game we play. We're going to see the Empoleon coming in. We're going to see a Toxicroak coming in, completely getting hardwalled in the backline there. I guess if I had switch advantage, I guess it would have been a little bit different. I think I could have won this if I had switch advantage there. So like the lead matchup literally cost me everything here, because sadly I have to farm them down here, and I have to still keep a shield, because otherwise the Empoleon going to knock me out in time. But of course, they're also going to survive with 1 HP here. So yeah, I guess this was kind of an unlucky matchup for us, but it is going to be fine. We can go for another charge move here. That's going to get the shield from the opponent, and sadly we're missing out by 1 fast move in order to knock out the opponent there, which is okay, but yeah, unlucky matchup in general. 2 times 1 HP could have been definitely a little bit different. Next opponent, Dragonair. What we're going to do here is going to stay in, and we are not going to throw a charge move. The Dragonair from the opponent will get knocked out before they can get to the second one. I'm going to shield up once, and I have now a ton of energy on my Altaria. What you're going to see here is the Lantern coming in, which we can now basically go into our Vigoroth, which also seems to have some lag issues again. Thunderbolt doing some pretty decent damage here, but we're going to get out the Noctowl. That's going to be a very decent play for us. Body Slam going to hurt them quite a bit, and they are forced to throw a charge move very soon, as we're going to just spam those Body Slams. Another one coming through here, and they have to throw now, and they do throw at the perfect timing, so well played by my opponent. But what we can do now is we can go ahead, go into Altaria, and we should be able to just go for 1 Sky Attack. The Sky Attack should knock them out or get the shield, and we're going to be able to get the knockout, and now we can go ahead and go into the Swampert, and we don't even have to really bait. We're just gonna go straight for the Hydro Cannon. We don't really care too much about it. Luckily, they are Spark and not Water Gun, so at this point of time, you see the opponent getting lower and lower already in terms of the health that they have. I don't have to throw a charge move anymore. It is not worth it anymore, and we will be able to just farm down the opponent here the entire way down, before they can do anything and win this final game. This team is amazing, I really enjoyed it. If you need some more coverage against the alone 9-hits, which we only faced one in the first 2 sets there, definitely you can try out Galarian Stunfisk in the back, but Vigoroth is so much fun, as you maybe saw in this video. If you enjoyed this one, please leave a like. On the left side you see the latest video, and on the right side you see the top teams for the Great League. So check those videos out if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.